Madame Linda couldn't sleep that night. She tossed and turned in her soft bed, hugging her pillow, replaying Joseph's words in her head. "I think I'm falling in love with you." That was the moment she had been waiting for all her life. But instead of smiling, she cried, because the love was built on a lie. In the morning, she called me into her room. Her eyes were red and swollen. "Rita," she said, "I can't keep doing this. I have to tell him the truth." I froze. "Madam, are you sure? What if he feels betrayed? What if he walks away?" She nodded slowly. "If he truly loves me, he will forgive me. If he doesn't, then maybe I was never meant to be loved in the first place." That evening, she didn't go out in her rags. For the first time in weeks, she wore a beautiful but simple gown, blue and flowing. She didn't wear any makeup. She didn't dress like a rich woman. Just neat. Just herself. We drove in a small car to the corner where she always sold corn. I watched her walk nervously toward Joseph. He was already there, sweeping the little space beside the stall and smiling to himself. But as he looked up, his smile disappeared. His eyes widened. He stood still. He didn't recognize her at first. He looked at her from head to toe. Then his mouth opened slowly. "Auntie?" he asked in confusion. "Wait, you can see?" Tears filled Madame Linda's eyes. She stepped closer. "My name is Linda. I am not blind. I'm not poor either. I own businesses. I live in a mansion not too far from here. But I've never been loved for who I am, only for what I have." Joseph just stood there, frozen. She continued, her voice shaking. "I wanted to meet someone who could love me from the inside, not for my money or my beauty. I know I lied, but I never meant to hurt you." There was silence. Painful, heavy silence. Joseph looked away, then back at her. "So everything you told me was fake?" She shook her head quickly. "No, every word I said was true. My feelings were real. Your kindness, your honesty, it changed me. I've never met a man like you, Joseph." He lowered his eyes. Then he said something that broke her completely. "Do you know what it feels like to be lied to by the only person you opened your heart to?" A tear dropped from her eye. She reached for his hand, but he stepped back. "I need time," he said quietly. "I don't know how to feel right now." Then he walked away, and Madame Linda collapsed in tears. She got what she wanted, a man who loved her truly, but she might have lost him forever. After Joseph walked away, Madame Linda fell to the ground and wept like a child. I rushed to hold her, but she wouldn't let me. She kept whispering, "I ruined everything. I ruined it." For 2 days, she didn't eat. She didn't smile. She didn't even leave her room. She just stayed on her bed, holding the scarf she used to tie over her eyes, the same scarf Joseph always saw her in. I tried to comfort her. "Madam, maybe he just needs time. He was hurt. But if he truly loves you, he will come back." But she shook her head and said, "I don't deserve him. I lied. I played with his heart, even though I never meant to." On the third day, something unexpected happened. I heard a knock at the mansion gate. When I opened it, it was Joseph. He looked tired, confused, and nervous. I quickly called Madame Linda. She came downstairs slowly, her heart pounding. They stood face to face again. This time, no lies, no blindness, no poor disguises. Joseph looked into her eyes. "I didn't come to fight," he said softly. "I came to ask, why me?" She swallowed hard, then replied, "Because you saw me. Not my clothes, not my money. You saw me, and I fell in love with your heart." He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said something that made her knees weak. "You broke my heart, but I can't lie. I still think about you every night." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Can we start again?" she asked. Joseph looked at her and nodded. "Yes, but no more games, no more secrets, just you and me." She smiled. For the first time in years, her smile was real. They sat together in the garden behind the mansion, holding hands, not as a blind woman and a poor boy, but as two people who had found something rare. True love. But just when everything seemed perfect, Madame Linda's phone rang. It was a business partner. He said something that shook her completely. "You've been betrayed. Someone close to you has been stealing from your company for months." Her smile faded. Joseph looked at her, confused. "What is it?" She looked at him with fear in her eyes and whispered, "I think someone is trying to destroy me." The phone call left Madame Linda shaken. She ended the call and sat in silence, staring into space. Joseph held her hand and asked again, "What's going on?" She turned to him slowly and said, "Someone has been stealing from my company, and the worst part is, it's someone very close to me." Joseph was shocked. Do you have any idea who it could be? She shook her head. Not yet, but my partner said it's someone with access to private documents and passwords. That means it could be a family member, or one of my top workers. Suddenly, everything began to feel different. The happiness she had just found was now being threatened by betrayal. Later that evening, Madame Linda and I sat in her office going through files. I noticed her hands were shaking. "Rita," she whispered, "I can't go through another heartbreak. Not again." I knew what she meant. This betrayal wasn't just about money. It was about trust. While we were still searching, she got another message. It was from an unknown number. The message said, "You think Joseph loves you? Ask him who sent him to you in the first place." Her heart stopped. She showed me the message, her eyes full of fear. "Rita, what is this supposed to mean? Joseph didn't just meet me by accident?" I was confused too. She stood up immediately, grabbed her keys and told me, "I need to find out the truth, for my business and for my heart." She drove to Joseph's house. It was a small, simple building near the market. His sick mother welcomed her kindly. Madame Linda waited until Joseph returned from selling water. When he saw her, he smiled, but she didn't smile back. "Joseph," she said quietly, "I need you to tell me the truth. Did someone send you to me?" His smile faded. "What are you talking about?" She showed him the message. Joseph was silent for a long time. Then he sat down and looked her in the eyes. "At first, yes." Madame Linda felt dizzy. "What do you mean, yes?" Joseph sighed and explained. "A woman came to me weeks ago. She said you were rich but had no heart. She offered me in 100,000 to pretend to care about you and then embarrass you in public. I was desperate. My mother was sick, I had no job, and I needed the money." Madame Linda's heart shattered. Joseph continued, "But when I met you, the plan changed. I couldn't go through with it. I fell in love with you for real. I told the woman I wouldn't do it and she threatened me. I don't even know her real name. She always wore sunglasses and spoke in fake accents." Tears rolled down Linda's face. "So everything else was a game?" Joseph shook his head quickly. "It started as a job, but it became real. Please, believe me." She looked at him, heartbroken all over again. "I don't know what to believe anymore." She walked away without saying another word. Joseph called out to her, but she didn't turn back. When she got home, she locked herself in her room. Then I found her later that night, sitting in the dark, holding the same scarf she once used to hide her eyes. She looked up at me and said softly, "I found love and betrayal in the same person. But who was the woman behind the plot? And why did she want Madame Linda ruined?" For days, Madame Linda didn't leave her room. She refused food, she didn't answer phone calls. She had finally found the kind of love she always prayed for. But now, everything felt like a trap. She told me, "Rita, he said he was paid to meet me. How do I trust anything after that?" I couldn't find the words, but deep down, I still believed Joseph's feelings were real. I had seen it in his eyes, in the way he spoke to her, in the way he protected her. Then something strange happened. A delivery boy arrived at the mansion with a small brown envelope. No name, no number, just a note inside that said, "If you want to know who is really behind all this, come to the back of Queen's Plaza tomorrow at 6 p.m. Linda was scared, but she was also tired of being confused. So the next day, I went with her. We wore plain clothes and parked far from the plaza. We walked to the back alley just before 6 p.m. And then, a black car drove in slowly. The door opened, and to our shock, Miss Amanda, Linda's childhood friend and business partner, stepped out. Yes, Amanda. The same woman Linda trusted with her secrets. The same woman who helped her set up her first shop. The same woman who had smiled beside her at every party and called her sister. Madame Linda froze. "Amanda?" Amanda smiled darkly. "Oh, so you came? Good." Linda stepped forward. "Are you the one who paid Joseph to trick me?" Amanda didn't deny it. She simply said, "Yes, I did, and I would do it again." Linda's voice shook. "Why?" Amanda's smile vanished. "Because I'm tired of being in your shadow. You have everything, beauty, money, respect, and now even true love. I have nothing. You always shine. I always sit behind, clapping. I just wanted you to feel what it means to be alone and broken." Linda was speechless. Amanda walked closer and whispered, "But it backfired, didn't it? Joseph actually fell for you, just like everyone else." Then Amanda turned and walked away slowly. That was when everything became clear. This wasn't about love. This was about envy. Deep, poisonous envy. From someone she once called family. That night, Linda sat quietly in the garden. She looked at the sky and whispered, "I never saw this coming, not from Amanda." And then I asked her, "What will you do now?" She replied calmly, "I don't know, but I need to fix things with Joseph, because he may have been sent to me. But he chose to stay, and that means something." The next day, she decided to face Joseph one last time. But when we got to his house, his mother was crying at the door. She looked at Linda with tears in her eyes and said, "They came and took him away. Joseph has been arrested. What happens next will break your heart."